to illuminate the often unseen mental health challenges faced by first responders, police officers, firefighters, paramedics, and 911 dispatchers by sharing their stories, fostering understanding, and promoting resources for support and healing. We aim to break down stigma, advocate for improved mental health services within the first responder community, and inspire hope and resilience. This is the Weight We Carry podcast.
Welcome back to the Weight We Carry podcast. We're so glad you're here with us on this very special episode, our Season 2 finale. As we close out another season, we want to take a moment to express our deepest gratitude to all our guests. Each of them showed incredible bravery by stepping up to share their stories, their struggles, their healing, and their journeys through the mental health challenges that come with life and public safety. It takes real strength to speak openly and vulnerably, as we have honored to share that space with each and every one of them. To our listeners, thank you for being here. Whether you're in the field or supporting someone who is, your presence matters. Every download, every listen, every message of support helps us continue the mission of breaking the stigma and building a community of understanding and resilience. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's one of the most impactful ways to help us grow and keep spreading these critical stories and resources that come with them. Your support helps bring this work to those who need it most. Today's episode features Drew Antol, a true, compassionate, and selfless man. Like many of us, is still in the midst of his journey. You'll hear it in his voice, you'll see it in his expressions. The weight he carries is real. His story is raw, is honest, and it comes to a powerful and emotional head when he speaks about his experience during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a moment that ties everything together and reminds us these conversations are truly necessary. We hope this episode leaves you with reflection, connection, and most of all, hope. Let's get to it.
What's going on, guys? It's Bart with the Weight We Carry podcast. I'm here with my awesome wife, Brittany, and we are very happy to have Mr. Drew Antol with us today, firefighter EMT. What's going on, brother? How you been?
What's up? Good to be here. Really excited to be here.
It's been years, man, and when you reached out, and we were just talking about this before we hit play, I'm like, we saw your email come through, and I'm like, Drew Antol, hell yeah. So we were really excited to have you on. I remember you coming to Ross Westview and doing ride-alongs with us. So that's how we met. That's how we met. So Drew, if you'd like to, man, why don't you give everyone a little introduction to yourself and what you've been up to and what you're doing?
My name is Drew Antol. I'm an EMT at Medical Rescue Team South Authority over in Mount Lebanon. I've been there since 2019. I've been at several other services around the area, and I'm really in EMS, and I'm just kind of digging the ride as we go.
Heck yeah, man! Merck's a great company. I actually we dispatch them out. You know, I'm one of your dispatchers, so it's pretty cool, man. It's cool to actually put names to faces. Although I did know you before, you know, being on the other side of the radio. So it's good to see you, man. And thank you so much for coming on and agreeing to be on the show. We're really excited to have you. So we're just going to jump right into it, Drew. Okay. If you can, take us back to your childhood in West Mifflin. What was life like growing up as an only child?
Yeah, I was the only child. Growing up was a little bit same as everybody else. But my dad had a lot of medical issues, and he had a lot of health problems, epilepsy from being in the military. So the ambulance would be at my house like every so often because of his epilepsy and everything like that. And I'd be so so amazed by wow, like everything is chaos, and then they show up and everything's like okay because the heroes are here. So I was like, I couldn't believe like how crazy everything happens real quick. And I was like, man, that'd be pretty cool to do that as a career. So when I was 16 years old, I joined Homeville Volunteer Fire Department, and ever since there, I just started there and progressed.
It's been ever since, EMS ever since, man.
That's
and
right.
Fire.
Yep.
Heck yeah. So we see now that you bowled a perfect game when you were 12 years old. That's pretty incredible.
I was a big time bowler.
And do you still bowl? And what was that like for you, bowling a perfect game? That's amazing.
I was in a lot of bowling competitions, and I was in Who's Who for bowling 2003 2004 section of Who's Who. and yeah, it was really really cool. You know, my dad was a bowling coach, and that was like amazing time to bowl a perfect game in front of his presence, and that was really cool.
Awesome, man. So you mentioned working at Kennywood as a ride operator in high school. Did that job teach you anything that stuck with you throughout your EMS career?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes like there would be kind of like issues with the rides or issues, you know, that would come up, and that, you know, taught me how to just stay like calm as can be,
Mhm.
and like not freak out, and that's probably where I started to get my calmness nature.
Did you move around to different rides or did you stick with one?
Yeah, we had like a ride group. I was in charge of the jackrabbit, the paddle boats, the paratrooper, the kangaroo, and the merry-go-round.
Some of the best rides there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I like it. Is it
yeah.
like the movie? What's that movie with they filmed at Kennywood?
Adventureland.
Adventureland.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it at a point it is like kind of like that, yeah, for sure.
So you mentioned your father's health struggles and paramedics' calm presence during emergencies really shaped your career choice. Can you describe what it was like witnessing these moments as a kid?
Sure, it's very traumatic. I was, you know, I would like, I mean, you know, I didn't have any calmness at that point, and I just kind of like freak out, and you know, it was just like really chaotic, and it's just, you know, you're just always scared because you don't know if that's gonna be your dad's last day on this earth, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just pretty rough go.
My mom, when I was younger, she had Meniere's disease and she started having seizures with it. And it's scary. Like, I mean, you were a child and you weren't into EMS yet at that time.
No.
I just got my EMT, so I knew a little bit going on, but still, whenever that's your family member, you're like, holy crap, like, what do I do?
Right.
So you said you joined the Homeville Fire Department at 16 years old. Do you remember what it was like being so young at the fire department and your very first call there?
It was like pretty cool. I mean, you know, getting on fire trucks and you're 16, high school kid, and you're just like, you know, living a dream, and you're like this is amazing, you know. And you're like, I'm gonna go and help people, and gonna go and like, you know, save people out of burning buildings. And I was like, man, you know, I thought that was pretty crazy. So yeah, you know, we were taught as junior firemen. You know, we had how to do that essentials starting probably like 2 months in of doing it. That was like amazing. You know, we got to be taught by the city of Pittsburgh firefighters. So the main instructor was Jim Petruzzi. What an amazing instructor he was and still is. And I got to learn by, you know, Danny Doyle and Jimmy Ellis. It was amazing. I wouldn't be able to get through it without Jimmy Ellis, because he taught me how to do the 60-minute drill, putting the SCBA on, and how to cut corners. And, you know, it was just a sad day to lose him for sure.
We're actually going up from on Friday for in August to the Jimmy Ellis training weekend, and I'm so excited to just see how many people were there and the impact that he's had, not even in Pittsburgh, just all around the world.
For sure. For sure.
So you mentioned, Jim Petruzzi and even Scott Everett. How did these mentors influence your training and your career?
Like Scotty Ever was my EMT instructor, and you know, you know, I had terrible time passing tests. You know, written tests I'm not ever good at, but you know, he actually got me through. He got me through those written tests, and it was just crazy. You know, it was just crazy how, you know, the first time I did it, I didn't pass. You know, I midpoint I failed out. So I would he says I vowed that the second time you take it, I'll get you through. So and I was able to get through and able to pass my state instructor or state test, and then, you know, was able to start helping people
Heck yeah.
as an EMT.
Yeah, I think those mentors are so important. You know, some people are so good hands on, but as soon as you read the question, you know it, but you can't put that answer together. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So before we dive into specific incidents, can you describe what it was like going from training to your first real emergency call? Was there a moment that hit you that this job was different than you expected?
It was definitely it was definitely different as far as like, you know, because you don't know how it's going to be played out, like doing learning from, you know, the curriculum to actually the street medicine portion. It's like a lot different, and it's great to have those mentors, like to um be able to train you, so that way, because it's a lot different on the street than it is in the book. So yeah, for sure.
So here's a big major incident that we all, if we live in the Pittsburgh area, we know about. So in 2007, the Applebee shooting. You did respond to that call, and did you have time to process what was happening in that moment, or was it all instinct and then your training did take over?
At that time, I was a volunteer for the ambulance service that covers that area, and I was like a third person ride along. So I was like still in like training mode and still trying to learn everything about the job and everything. But yeah, it was really crazy. It's a lot of EMT. You talk about scene safety. As far as is the scene safe, and I use this call a lot of times to talk about that. So like when we're like, I still remember it to this day. We're eating ice cream at a local dairy ice cream shop, and then I look at my one of the partners that I was with. I said, "Was that gunshots?" And he was like, "Oh, it could have been." 20 minutes later, we got called to that shooting over in Applebee's. So we arrived on scene, and my mentor just said, "Stay by my side," and he said, "We'll get through this." We get a little shout out to Jimmy Iker. Jim Iker. He was a good medic, and yeah, I was able to get through it. Unfortunately, that the patient, I went to high school with her, and it was very, like, as a kid that just graduated high school, you're like,
Oh wow.
this is like a lot to deal with. So that way, the shooter ended up still being on scene. He was like up in my face, like telling me like, save her life. And that's what I mean. Like, is the scene actually safe? It's never safe. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man. So when that incident happened there and like he was up in your face, did anyone know at the time that he was the suspect there or
No, because he like changed his clothes and like yeah, everything. Like I think I mean, I don't know 100%, but I think it was like pre-planned
oh,
situation. Yeah, because he had spare clothes and he changed, and yeah, it was like really really
that's
crazy.
scary. Yeah, that's scary. So staying with these heavy ones, man. So in 2006, you had your first fatal crash. How do you think that call shaped how you approach the job moving forward? And did it change how you viewed your own mortality?
Uh, at that point, it did. I just got certified at that point. I was recently certified, and I thought, like, I got this. I know this job. It's gonna be okay. And then, unfortunately, life like really throws you a curveball, and I looked at my partner and I says, "Is this every day? Because like I don't know if I could do this job every day."
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just looking at it and just like seeing that the person was beyond help, and it just like really really like sticks with you, to be able to come back from that.
And I would assume, I mean, it's just like me talking about some of the hard calls that I've been on. Did that really affect you throughout the rest of your career? Is that one of those calls that really stuck with you?
Sure, it still
And
does to this day.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I could still remember
like it
remember it
was yesterday
like it was yesterday.
for sure. So the Carousel restaurant fire in 2005. What was your role in that fire, and what stands out the most about that incident?
Uh, I was uh, I was an interior firefighter. I just got my live burn. So I was all ready to go, to be able to fight fire. I was on the first ladder truck in, with a bunch of kids that I graduated the fire academy with, because a lot of the veteran firefighters were at work. It was during a morning fire, and so a lot less help was there. We were able to. It was an entrapment call. We had one female that was entrapped in the second floor dwelling of the building, because they had an apartment building on the second floor. My crew was able to get her to safety, and were able to help her out, get her down to the medics. And it just like really opens your eyes, like your first fire, because I mean you're always gonna remember that. because
Yeah.
of how crazy, like dangerous, it could be for sure.
That's for me. I dipped my toes into the fire side of stuff when I first started at Ross, and I was like, nope, fire's not my thing. I was a medical rescue guy through and through.
Oh yeah.
Through and through.
I love fire. I loved it.
She's way braver than me. So bringing it up closer, like to nowadays, the Kennywood active shooter in 2022. Do you feel like past experiences helped you handle the situation differently? And if it had happened earlier in your career, have you handled it any differently than you did at the time?
Definitely. I was back then. I was like a veteran EMT. So a lot of the veteran EMTs, slow it down, and we all, everybody that's new wants to gun ho, let's get there, drive really fast. But with my experience, we were able to get there quickly, but safely too. So I don't know if that would be the case if I was brand new on the job, because I used to go really fast. So definitely, and you're able to process things better because you have an idea what you're going to be expecting to see. So you'll be able to help a little bit faster. My partner was a veteran paramedic. So like we had a good crew. Luckily, a lot of those patients were transported by POV to the hospitals. There wasn't that many that got transported by ambulance at the time. So we didn't really have to transport anybody at that situation. But we are definitely ready to help, get ready to help people. So that was that's pretty great, wild ride. Just like pops up on your CAD, active shooter, and you're just like, okay, here we go.
Let's go.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
of all people know how big Kennywood is and all the
right.
places they can hide and go to.
For sure.
And yeah, that knowledge that you brought there is probably huge for them. Between, being at the Applebee's shooting, knowing that the shooter is right in your face and you had no idea, to the layout of Kennywood.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
well. So after experiencing traumatic calls, did you recognize any signs in yourself that indicated the weight of the job was catching up to you?
I actually didn't realize the weight of the job, as far as catching up to me, because like I just started going to counseling like a year ago. So all those years of 18 plus years of doing firefighting and EMS, and seeing the stuff that we see on a regular basis, not handling it properly, having to leave your TV on because you don't want PTSD dreams. That I mean, that was the big thing that I dealt with, was the like old calls that I would go on, and I see them in my dreams sometimes. So I used to leave the TV on, but through counseling I was able to not have to leave the TV on anymore, and my wife appreciates that from the
Yeah. So many first responders ignore or suppress their emotions. Was there a breaking point for you when you realized that you needed to address your mental health?
I believe, yeah, it was definitely leaving the TV on and being short sometimes with my two boys, instead of just like need to handling it best of my ability to without counseling. But I see a big difference since I've been going. So I think everybody should go to counseling like at least once a month, as far as what we do at the minimum, for sure.
Yeah. So when did you first start to notice those signs of PTSD? And you said, sleeping with the TV on. What did that all look like for you? Was there anything else that kind of pointed its head at you?
Not too much, just like the dreams and the TV being left on, because not one have those crazy dreams, but just just I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
No, you're okay. Like any other signs that you had besides, being short or having those dreams?
Uh, just 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 being short and
Being
having
short.
the dreams, yeah.
Yeah. So what has helped you the most in coping with the trauma that you've experienced?
Definitely like talking to my wife, talking to my peers. We have these really good supervisors at MRTSA. So I go to one of them very frequently, and we just have our talks. And definitely it's always good to have like one of the veteran people to always reach out to, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Is your wife in public safety at all?
No, she's actually she works for the news.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we always said, like, your support system at home is so big. And, we were lucky to the point that even though I'm not in public safety anymore, I knew what he was dealing with. So I could just read it all over him if he needed to talk or if he needed to just have some time to himself.
Call me out.
Well, I mean, same goes for me. He knows it with me, but you don't have to be in public safety. If you just lend that ear, give that undivided attention, that's the biggest thing. It's huge.
That's right.
Let's see. So now you have a support system with your wife, your friends, and your kids. How has having that solid foundation helped you process everything you've been going through?
Just by having that support system and the friendships that I had, like I don't know if I'd be able to get through any of this job or anything without those support system, for sure.
It's huge. And we realized yesterday when we were speaking to one of our other guests, not everyone has someone to go home to tell these things to, or just at least to decompress to. And you go home with your own thoughts, and that can be the worst thing ever.
Sure, for sure.
So, a lot of us don't realize how lucky we have it. If I didn't have Britt, man, I don't know where else I'd be. And it's crazy how, just like she said, a simple ear, or just to sit there and let you trauma dump on them, which I don't try to do, and I don't do that anymore. But it's invaluable. There's no other way around it. Not all people have that. So, Drew, looking back, do you think there was enough mental health resources available when you first started in public safety?
Definitely not. Definitely not. There was nothing. People would say, you're being too soft, or what are you talking about? Like, just forget about it once it's over.
And
There's no need for it.
And that's the crazy thing. We all, we came up around the same time, and
Right.
that was what it was like. That's what it was like. Suck it up, Buttercup. This is how we do it.
We got 5 more calls for you.
Yep.
I think that's what's important too. In like 2 weeks, I think we might be go talk to a school for new EMTs, and without scaring them, we want to just kind of tell them like, hey, right away, you got to figure out your healthy outlets. You got to talk about it. You got to talk about a call. I always thought I was different because calls didn't bother me at the time. I saw stuff at 16 years old that nobody should see at any age.
Sure.
So them being the same age as me, that's where I got my MT. I graduated from there. I think it's such an important thing for us to go talk to them at that young age and say, hey, you're not invincible. It might not bother you right now. It might, but it might not. It's going to build up. So while this is an amazing thing that you're doing, you need to also put on some, not proud pants, but some pants of saying, okay, well, I need to talk about this, and I can't just let this build up with me.
Right. Unfortunately, I don't even think that was even covered in my EMT class. I don't know if Bart's EMT class covered.
And the funny thing is, who we interviewed yesterday, she was my EMT instructor, and I don't remember it. I don't remember it ever being discussed. It may have for like a sentence or two, but we're like, man, we're going to go save lives.
Right.
Little did we know, we don't save everyone. And that's, she even said, she's like, you have to delicately put it to them without scaring them away from the profession. And I think that's the key, is make mental health a priority, because with that, if that's set in the beginning and at the base of their careers, and continue that on through their career path, and reviewing the mental health, that's how you have providers stay for 20 plus years.
Right.
That's how they take care of themselves. And along with that, like you said, you have an awesome command staff at your station. It starts with compassion. You have to have that. If you don't, what are you doing? You're not doing your crews any good. So
True.
What do you wish more first responders knew about PTSD and mental health?
I just, I would just wish like that they would all like seek probably like some help with counseling services, and I think we need to, as a community, public safety community, I think we should start doing like peer support, something. I mean, we should definitely start doing something like that.
I think peer support should be at every station, every center, everything. You should have at least 2 to 3 peer support people on a shift. I think so. That's just
Yep.
my perspective of it, but I think it's very possible to do. It's just getting the training to officially be a peer support group member. So if someone listening right now is struggling, Drew, what would you say to them?
Go to your leader, one of your supervisors. Go to if you don't feel comfortable with the supervisor, definitely go to one of your mentors and just talk about it. Don't And even if you think it's stupid, it might be stupid to you, but it's not stupid, for them to help you, because we don't want to bury our own. That's for sure. We want to be able to take care of one another.
And that's what we found out. Speaking to other guests, they said it takes an average of 4 to 6 minutes of lending an ear to someone that can totally flip their mind if they intended to hurt themselves. It can change their whole trajectory. So, I think anyone out there, just listen. If someone's coming to you or you're seeing your friends struggling, or like a super talkative person not being talkative, or vice versa, a super talk or a super quiet person being really talkative, those are signs. Those are real signs of something's not right. So call them out on it, because most of the time they're not going to reach out for the help. You have to sort of notice those things. So just be a better friend and be a better person and provider there for your people. And I know we discussed this before we jumped on, Drew, but your whole COVID experience. Is there anything you want to tell us about, like what happened with you, or during that time during the COVID outbreak?
Yeah, that was like crazy. I remember I was at the merch station, and we're all in the garage, and we're like, we didn't really know what COVID was, and we're like, it's starting to kill people, and we're just like, what do we do in this situation? I mean, we at the time we didn't even really have that much PPE. You know what I mean? We didn't have masks or anything on the ambulance. We just had it for licensure, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, I mean, dealing with the first COVID patient that we thought was COVID, going up to the doctor and saying, how do we clean this rig? And he said, I would just mark it out of service. And we're
Oh
we're
wow.
just we're just like, oh, I mean, this is crazy. Like, we didn't know what to do, and then everything, all these nursing homes like covering up with plastics and look like a haunted house. It's like, this is crazy. And then you know, just we at Mertz, where we had cover we had a for the homeless shelter for people from the city of Pittsburgh. They had their staying at one of the hotels in Green Tree, and we had to cover that area. And we're going through, like, people were getting COVID left and right, because we had to transport those people to the hospitals, and it was just like a wild ride. And then I unfortunately got COVID, and that experience was very terrible. The first time I got COVID, being weak, and I just at the time I just bought my condo over in Cranberry Township, and I wasn't even able to walk 500 feet because I was so weak
Oh
to
wow.
use the restroom. And it was just crazy. And just like, the psychological, being able to see your kids through a window, because at the time I was just dating Jocelyn at the time. So, just being like alone, it was just like something. It was really crazy. And then on top of that, I knowing how bad COVID was, I knew that was probably going to be a death sentence for my dad. I ended up losing my losing my dad at that time. And dealing with all his health problems and so forth, and just but it was just very crazy. But like, um with all the hospitals being shut down, I was told by the hospital. He was at the VA hospital, and I was told that I'm not going to see my dad. And I knew who was taking care of him through doing EMS and so forth, and they said he probably won't survive the night. And just talk to my contacts of through EMS. I was able to eventually get in there and see him one last time, and actually stay with him, and get to watch him through a glass. Um, and then I stayed there until he ended up passing away. Um, over there on January 7th.
I'm so sorry, buddy.
Thank
That's
you.
but not making light or any good out of it. At least you could be there with
Right.
him, and that's
And I want to thank all the contacts that helped me through that. And
like, yeah, man.
you know who you are. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. What a hard thing to go through, man. Thanks, and you didn't have to share that at all, Drew. But thank you for sharing that for everyone to understand what was going on with you at that time.
For sure. Thank you.
Like, yeah, man. Drew, are there any resources, books, therapy methods, peer support groups, or anything like that that have been particularly helpful to you?
Just talking with friends, talking with coworkers, talking to my counselor, and talking to family. Definitely, like you want to have a good support system, and no matter no matter who you are, we're always looking to reach out.
Okay.
All right, I gotta try to collect myself real quick. My heart goes out to you because, when Bart was sick, I couldn't go see him. They thought he was patient zero with COVID, and I guess I got escorted out, and he got so bad that, I was calling every few hours to see, how he was doing, and they had some contacts that they got me in there, and I was the only person in the hospital. So everyone kind of like stared at me like, how'd she get in here? And I had 3 minutes. They gave me 3 minutes to basically go say goodbye to him. So
I know exactly what you're going through, and that's the same eyeball I got, and it was terrible. But I'm glad everything worked out for you guys, and it still worked out for me, because I was able to say goodbye to my dad, and that's amazing, and that's what we need to do. We need to help each other,
Yeah.
whatever we can.
For sure. Well, I'm very sorry for your loss, and I know it sounds cliche, but I know he's looking down on you. So proud of you for what you're doing, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
heck yeah. So despite everything you've been through, you're still in public safety and planning to retire in this field. What keeps you going?
Uh, my steady partner, keeps me definitely going. And my family, is what the main drive. And you got to care for your family, and and that's what I know how to do, and I just want to stay in there and care for people.
Yeah. What's one lesson from your career that you hope that others take away from your story?
No matter what patch you wear, whether you work for ambulance A, B, and C, or ambulance EFG, let's just be there for each other. Definitely, let's all, if someone's having a hard time, let's go out and say, hey, you need to talk, instead of this animosity of you work for this service and you work for that service. Let's all come together, be a part of a community. And if anybody, if you see me at the hospital, come up and talk to me.
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. Man, Drew.
100%.
Hell yeah. Oh, we have the last question here for you, buddy.
All right.
Looking ahead, what's something you're excited about, either in your career or your personal life or anything and beyond?
Looking forward to vacation coming up in June. So I'm going to spend the week with the in-laws, and I'm ready to unwind from working EMS, and ready to get out there in the ocean, and hopefully I don't get lost at sea. Just kidding.
Just not come back, stay at the beach.
That's right.
We're ready for it too. We're leaving for Disney in June, and we're spending our son's 12th birthday at Magic Kingdom.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I went Disney for my honeymoon. It was a fantastic place.
I promised him we'll take a little Disney break after this, but our son's playing orchestra on Disney in 2 years, so not too much of a break.
Nice.
Where are you guys headed?
We're at Myrtle Beach.
Awesome.
Yeah, Jocelyn's parents live down there full time, so once a year we go down there and spend a week.
I need the beach. I'm ready to go back to the beach. We had a really good vacation to Ocean City last year. It was the first year that my son ever, because he's perfect age for the boardwalk. So it was fantastic. That was, of all the vacations, all the Disney trips that we've taken, I was like, Ocean City was my very favorite vacation ever out of all my life, just because of how we were able to do it and spend the time there. Thank you, Pokemon cards. I used to sell a lot of Pokemon cards, and that's how we did that. That's how we paid for this Disney trip too. Pokemon. Thank you.
Wow, that's crazy.
If you need Pokemon cards, let us know.
Anything else? Drew. I mean, thank you, man, for coming on and, being so open. I know that when we discussed COVID, I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know that your father passed. And seriously, we're really sorry for that loss that you've had. It has to be tremendous to you. But look where you're at now, and like my wife said, it sounds cliche, but that energy's still here. He's still there with you, and he can guide you through all those times.
For sure, I know he's there. Yeah, for sure.
Heck yeah. Anything else you'd like to add, babe? Drew? Anyone?
Have fun on vacation.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah, for sure, son.
And guys, if you would like to be like Drew and come on the show, hit us up at twwcpodcast@proton.me. Well, I got it right the first time that time. I can't believe it.
Nice.
Send us an email because we are booked out past July now. My goodness. Can you believe that?
That's awesome.
We were just saying it before. We're like, this is imposter syndrome. Are we even supposed to be here? And where'd all these people come from? But I really think the dialogue's been opened up, and I think people are actually seeing that it's okay to not be okay. We've heard that several times from several guests. And it's okay to talk about it, because that's what helps us all.
It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to not do anything about it.
100%.
Yep.
There it is. Boom. Guys.
Mic drop.
Well, guys, thank you again, Drew. Again, thank you, brother. Thank you so much for being on. Guys, hit us up. Thanks for watching the show. Keep on sharing it out. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe, guys, please. We need those subscriptions there. But we'll see you later. Thank you, Drew. Have a good one, guys.
All right, take care.